Chapter 16, On Beneath the Billionaire's Mask, Ashes and Aftermath. 3 days later, Brooklyn. The storm came slower than they expected. No sudden cancellations, no screaming headlines, just erosion. Articles that once named Damian visionary now called him revisionist. Podcasts dissected his confession. Investors paused their calls. Even Hart, ever loyal, advised him to step back for a while. But it wasn't the noise that hurt. It was the silence, the absence of worship, the drying of awe. For the first time in years, Damian Wolf wasn't trending, and he didn't know who he was without the glare. Eliana fractured fame. Eliana, too, felt the aftershocks. Paris called again. The Galerie Delacroix commission was still on the table, though now they wanted a full series titled Revisions of Power. The concept, her visual interpretation of the world's shift-in image of Damian. "They want me to paint the fall," she told Damian that night. His smile was bitter. "Art imitates headlines." She looked at him carefully. "I told them no." "Why?" "Because I'm not interested in painting a man the world thinks it knows. I'm still figuring out the one who wakes up beside me." Damian's retreat. In the days that followed, Damian withdrew, not coldly, not cruelly, but noticeably. He didn't take meetings. He didn't respond to interview requests. He stopped shaving, slept odd hours, ate when Eliana reminded him. She tried not to worry, tried. But one night, when she found him sitting in the hallway outside his old study, knees drawn up like a child, her heart cracked. He looked up at her, eyes red-rimmed. "I don't know what to do with myself when I'm not fixing something." Eliana knelt beside him. "Then maybe it's time to feel something instead." The call that changed things. A week after the confession went public, Eliana received a call from a familiar number. A curator named Joan Kelly, who had once written Eliana off as too cerebral for mass galleries, now wanted to host a retrospective. Solo, full freedom, full budget. The theme, What Artists Bury. "I want your truth," Joan said. "Not just about him. About you." Eliana hung up and sat in silence, and then slowly began to cry, not because she was overwhelmed, but because for the first time someone wanted her story without the billionaire beside it. That night, honesty in the dark. She told Damian over dinner, "I think I want to do it," she said. He nodded. "You should." "You're not threatened?" His smile was small. "I lost the world's approval. I won't lose yours by being selfish." She reached for his hand. "I want to paint the truth, Damian. Not just yours, mine. The version of me that existed before I knew how you liked your coffee. Before I slept in silk sheets, he met her eyes. Then show her to me too." And just like that, something broken inside them clicked back into place. Not perfect, but possible. Eliana, the canvas, and the mirror. She called Joan Kelly the next morning. "Yes," Eliana said, "I'm in." 3 hours later, she was standing in the loft above a converted firehouse in Soho, her new temporary studio space paid for by the gallery. It smelled like wood and primer. She liked that. For the first time in months, her easel stood before her without pressure to please, defend, or romanticize. She started small. A self-portrait. No earrings, no gloss, no whispers of wolf. Just a woman. Tired. Raw. Still learning who she was when no one else was looking. Damian, an unexpected destination. Damian left the next day. No press, no driver, no itinerary. Just a one-way ticket to South Carolina, where his mother had grown up, where he had once spent 3 summers before boarding school erased the accent from his tongue. Eliana didn't ask why. She just packed a note in his suitcase that said, "Go where the world doesn't recognize you. Come back when you recognize yourself." He tucked it into his coat like armor. South Carolina, the chapel in the pines. Damian found the chapel 2 miles off a dirt road, hidden behind cypress and old stone. It hadn't changed. Neither had the man who opened the door. "Look what the high-dollar storm blew back," the Reverend said with a grin. "Still wearing that coat in 90-degree weather," Damian replied, almost smiling. The Reverend clapped him on the back. Still pretending I've got somewhere better to be. They sat under the porch for hours, sipping lemon tea and letting cicadas fill the spaces between words. "You look tired, son," the Reverend said at last. Damian stared out at the trees. "I forgot who I was when I wasn't building something." The Reverend nodded. "Maybe you need to remember how to be something instead." Eliana, Ghosts in the Paint back in New York, Eliana's retrospective began taking shape, each canvas a confession. A painting of her mother's scarf knotted in a mirror frame. A subway station bench, empty, where she once sketched commuters and prayed someone would buy. A girl in a gallery dress, barefoot and furious, holding a mask that looked too much like love. Visitors passed through quietly, reverently. Joan stopped her on the second day and said, "You're telling the truth." "Even when it hurts," Eliana smiled. That was the goal. South Carolina, the confession booth without walls. On the third day, Damian stood before the chapel and asked the Reverend a question he hadn't said aloud in years. "What if I don't want to go back?" The Reverend didn't look surprised. "Then don't. I'll lose everything." "You already did. The myth's gone, son, but maybe that means you've got a better shot at living true." Damian sat down hard on the church steps. "I miss her," he said quietly. "And I don't know how to be what she needs." "Then stop trying to be something," the Reverend said. "Just be with her." And for the first time in weeks, Damian felt his pulse slow. 3 weeks later, Brooklyn Heights. Damian returned on a quiet Sunday morning. He didn't text or call ahead, just rang the buzzer. Eliana opened the door barefoot in paint-splattered sweatpants and a messy bun. Her heart stopped when she saw him. He looked lighter. No sharp edges, no defense in his posture, no designer coat or digital noise, just Damian, tired, present, and, for the first time since Oslo, still. "Hi," he said. Eliana blinked. "Hi." They stood in silence. Then she stepped aside, and he walked in, relearning each other. They didn't kiss right away, didn't fall into bed or rush to reclaim lost time. They just sat on the floor, in the living room, sharing the same blanket, watching dust dance in the light between them. "What did you find down there?" Eliana asked softly. Damian leaned back against the couch. "A man I hadn't spoken to in 20 years. And what did he say? That I'm more than what I create." She smiled gently. "He's right." The exhibition opens. 2 nights later, Eliana's retrospective debuted. The space was packed, critics, collectors, nobodies with curious eyes. Damian stood at the back, in black, unassuming. He didn't need the spotlight. Tonight it wasn't his, it was hers. Eliana's hands trembled as she walked through the rooms. This was the first time she wasn't just showing art, but revealing the stories that shaped her. People didn't whisper Wolf's lover anymore. They said, "That's Eliana Moore. She's the one who painted grief like a second skin. She made love look like war and survival like silk." After the show, they sat on a rooftop after the show, legs dangling over the edge. Eliana looked out at the skyline, her voice soft but clear. "I used to think being with you meant living in your shadow." Damian looked at her. "And now?" "Now I realize I was just afraid I wouldn't shine bright enough on my own." "You do," he said. "You always did." She turned to face him. "I don't want to be rescued anymore, Damian. Not by money, not by legacy, not even by love." He nodded. "Then let's build something where we don't need saving. Just choosing every day." And this time, when they kissed, it was slow, not urgent, not desperate, just earned. Final scene, the fire reborn. 2 weeks later, Damian announced the closure of his public advisory roles. No more panels, no more stage summits. Instead, he donated his private research wing to a university and announced a fellowship in Amara Langford's name for ethical technologists of underrepresented backgrounds. He didn't need the spotlight anymore. He needed impact. Eliana painted a final piece for her exhibit, a faceless man in silhouette stepping out of smoke, not emerging from fire but carrying it forward. She called it "What We Keep." Stay tuned for more chapters on this story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your comment below. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.